He always smiles when she's near. Cameras flash, fans scream, and Sam Heughan stands beside Caitríona Balfe with that familiar mix of confidence and calm. To the world, he's unshakable, the charming, grounded man who can carry a storm of attention without ever letting it show. But lately, fans have begun to notice something different in his eyes. Behind the laughter, behind the jokes and the polished composure, there's something quieter. A hint of weight, a story untold. The question that's been whispered across fan communities for years is resurfacing again. Why does Sam Heughan always act so strong next to Caitríona Balfe? It's easy to say it's professionalism. Two co-stars who share one of the greatest love stories ever portrayed on television, perfectly synchronized on-screen, endlessly respectful off it. But for those who have followed them since the early days of Outlander, there's a deeper layer, one that goes beyond red carpets and photo ops. When Outlander first began, Sam and Caitríona were strangers stepping into roles that would soon define their lives. Their chemistry was instant, lightning caught on film. From the first read-through, from that first look between Jamie and Claire, the connection was undeniable. Cast members described it as magic, something no director could ever rehearse or manufacture. What started as two actors doing their jobs soon became the beating heart of a global phenomenon. And with that phenomenon came a price. The world fell in love with Jamie and Claire, and by extension, Sam and Caitríona. Every gesture, every laugh, every touch between them became evidence in the eyes of fans who wanted the on-screen love story to exist off-screen too. Interviews were analyzed, red carpet photos dissected. Were they just acting? Were those glances scripted, or something more? Sam, always the gentleman, kept his composure. While rumors swirled, he never fueled the fire nor tried to put it out completely. He smiled, protected Caitríona from invasive questions, and deflected the gossip with humor. He became the shield, the strong one. But strength, as he's often said, comes with silence. Behind closed doors, fame wasn't always easy. Sam once admitted in an interview, "There's this image of me that people love, the strong man, the hero. But sometimes, I wish they could see that I'm human too." Fans took it as humility. But those who looked closer heard the quiet exhaustion behind his words. Working side by side with Caitríona for nearly a decade created a bond few could understand. They've shared long shooting days in freezing weather, scenes that demanded emotional nakedness, and countless hours traveling the world together. Their partnership was built on trust, the kind of trust that can only exist when two people see the most vulnerable parts of each other and promise to protect them. And Sam took that promise seriously. When Caitríona got married, the world's attention turned into noise, endless comments, debates, even anger from fans who couldn't separate the woman from the character. Through it all, Sam never let his own feelings show. He stayed by her side, supportive and steady, refusing to let speculation overshadow her happiness. His silence, once again, became his armor. In public, he was strength personified, the man who smiled even when headlines twisted the narrative. But behind that strength was something bittersweet. Because for all his composure, for all his laughter, Sam was also human. A man who had shared something profound with a friend who now belonged to another life. During one Outlander press junket, when asked about how he and Caitríona managed to stay so close after all these years, Sam smiled and said softly, "We've been through everything together. I guess that makes you family." The room laughed warmly, but fans noticed the flicker in his eyes, the kind that comes from love, admiration, and maybe a trace of something unspoken. Perhaps that's the hidden reason he always acts strong beside her, not because he doesn't feel, but because he feels too deeply. He knows that in a world watching every move, one vulnerable moment could be misunderstood, one honest expression could start another fire he'd have to put out. So he keeps it inside. He protects her, the story they built, and maybe even the part of himself that still holds on to the quiet ache of what could never be. He once said, "Acting is about truth, even when you have to hide it." And maybe that's what we've seen all along. A man whose strength isn't a facade, but a choice. A way to carry the weight of love, fame, and loyalty without letting the cracks show. Because when the cameras flash and Caitríona stands beside him, smiling, radiant, untouchable, Sam Heughan isn't just acting strong. He's reminding himself that some stories are too precious to ever break. And in that silent strength lies the truest confession of all. When you look at them now, standing side by side at award shows, sharing quiet laughter at panels, or posing together for fans, it's easy to forget the years of weight that lie behind those smiles. Sam Heughan's strength next to Caitríona Balfe has never just been about confidence or composure. It has always been something deeper, a kind of emotional armor, forged through loyalty, admiration, and unspoken care. The truth is, Sam's strength is not the absence of feeling. It's the evidence of it. In interviews, Caitríona has often spoken about how Sam became her anchor during their Outlander years. "He's always been the rock," she once said. "Whenever things got chaotic, he was the one who kept everyone calm." He carries so much responsibility, not just for himself, but for everyone around him. Fans saw that too. How Sam would step in when she looked overwhelmed, how his jokes would lighten the tension in tough moments, how his hand would subtly guide her away from invasive photographers. It wasn't performative, it was instinct. Behind the cameras, their friendship grew from mutual respect into something more profound, the kind of bond that doesn't need words. After nearly a decade of working together, they've weathered everything: long days, personal losses, career changes, and the constant intrusion of fame. They've shared laughter and tears in equal measure, becoming each other's quiet refuge in a world that often demands too much. But what most people don't see is the emotional balance Sam has always had to maintain. Caitríona, graceful and strong in her own right, built a family, a life beyond the screen, while Sam, forever linked to her through the story that made them both famous, learned to find his place within that reality. He once said, "She's one of the most important people in my life." And part of loving someone, in any form, is knowing when to stand beside them, and when to stand back. That statement revealed more than he probably intended. Because behind the poised exterior lies a man who understands the cost of being misunderstood. Every glance between them becomes a headline. Every moment of tenderness becomes a theory. And yet, Sam never lets frustration show. He simply smiles, strong, protective, patient, choosing silence over spectacle. Insiders from the Outlander set have described moments when Sam carried emotional weight for both of them. During particularly difficult scenes, Caitríona once became overwhelmed, and Sam gently stepped in, offering quiet reassurance until she could continue. "He doesn't need to say much," one crew member shared. "You can just feel that she trusts him completely." That trust is the foundation of everything they've built. It's also the source of the strength he shows. Because when the world expects you to be the unshakable hero, on screen and off, you learn to swallow your doubts, your exhaustion, your own pain. You smile for the cameras, lift everyone else up, and keep moving forward. And yet, if you watch closely, there are moments, fleeting, fragile, when the mask slips. A lingering look, a small sigh, a laugh that sounds just a little too tired. It's in those seconds that the real Sam peeks through. The man who feels everything but chooses to protect it instead of expose it. In a candid moment during a podcast, he once admitted, "Strength doesn't mean you don't struggle. It just means you show up anyway." Those words resonated with fans everywhere because they weren't about fame or image. They were about humanity, about the quiet courage it takes to carry emotion with grace. Over the years, both Sam and Caitríona have mastered the art of connection without chaos, of letting the world see their friendship while guarding the truth of their bond. They've learned that not everything has to be explained, that sometimes the strongest love stories are the ones that remain unspoken. And maybe that's the hidden reason behind his strength. It's not just about protecting Caitríona, it's about protecting what they've built together. The trust, the respect, the decade-long partnership that's become more sacred than any rumor or headline. Sam understands that true strength isn't loud, it's quiet. It's knowing you could tell the world everything, but choosing not to. At a recent fan convention, someone asked him how he manages to stay so composed when people constantly speculate about his relationship with Caitríona. Sam smiled softly and said, "Because what we have doesn't need defending. It's real, and that's enough." The audience erupted in applause. But what lingered afterward wasn't just admiration, it was understanding. The realization that the strongest people are often the ones who love quietly, who give endlessly, and who carry others even when their own hearts are heavy. For Sam Heughan, that strength has never been a performance. It's a choice, a promise to be steady, loyal, and kind in a world that demands drama. It's the way he honors a friendship that has shaped his life and career. And perhaps that's what makes him so unforgettable. Because while everyone else looks for scandal or secrets, Sam shows something far more powerful: integrity. When he stands beside Caitríona Balfe, smiling, grounded, composed, it's not just the image of a leading man. It's the portrait of someone who has learned that love, in all its forms, is strongest when it's protected, not displayed. That's the hidden reason. Not because he's pretending to be strong, but because he's strong enough to love quietly.